If you're trying to learn SolidWorks but you're confused by all the different package options out there, you're not alone. In fact, picking the wrong one can cost you not only hundreds but even thousands of dollars. In this video, I'll break down the different SolidWorks packages, who each package is for, and I'll give you my personal recommendation based on your needs or if you are an absolute beginner. Hello guys, Wilfredo Perez here with another Inventor Within video, helping you with the knowledge and skills that you need to develop your product ideas sustainably, systematically, and confidently. So in the previous video, we learned about what CAD is and how SolidWorks will help us develop our product ideas in 2026. But if we're actually going to start using SolidWorks, we must first understand which package is the right package for us. Well, SolidWorks offers a variety of products and solutions, but the ones we need to start designing our ideas are the different SolidWorks Design and xDesign packages. First, let's go over SolidWorks Design. SolidWorks Design comes in 4 different tiers. We have the Standard, the Professional, the Premium, and the Ultimate. Each one builds on the previous one. Now, because it can be very easy to lose oneself in the intricacies and the different features that each tier offers, I'm going to try to keep it simple and at a surface level for the purpose of this video. The Standard package has tools for creating 3D parts and assemblies, 2D drawings, and a variety of core modeling tools. The Professional package has the same tools that the Standard version has, with the addition of file management tools and more automation and productivity features. The Premium package has everything the Professional version has, plus advanced simulation and motion tools. And finally, the Ultimate package has everything the Premium package offers and includes additional cloud capabilities, enhancing the collaborative potential of premium features. Now, all 4 of these tiers are installed locally in your computer. And now I know that for some of you, maybe this won't make a lot of sense, but don't worry, just bear with me and in a little bit you'll understand what I mean by that. For each of these different tiers, you can choose to purchase either a user or a device license. A user license is one that is tied to your personal account. With this type of license, you can actually use SolidWorks in multiple devices as long as it is one at a time, meaning you can't be logged into multiple devices simultaneously. A device license, on the other hand, limits the SolidWorks software to a single device, allowing anyone using the device to access the SolidWorks software. Now, all of the different SolidWorks products and solutions that I will be going over in this video come in the form of subscriptions. All of them except for the 4 different SolidWorks Design tiers that I'm currently going over. The reason for this is that these 4 tiers are not only available as subscriptions, but you can also buy perpetual licenses for them. What I mean by perpetual is that you can get to keep the license forever, but of course this only applies to the year version of SolidWorks you are getting. So if you get the perpetual license for the 2025 version, you have unlimited access to the 2025 version, but you won't have access to the 2026 version when it rolls around. However, do keep in mind that the perpetual license will also include the cost of 1 year's worth of subscription, as this allows for the software to be patched in the event that any bugs or glitches end up surfacing out. This guarantees that you'll be buying a permanent license for SolidWorks that won't fail. Now, if you prefer to stick with a subscription, you actually have the option to either enroll in a quarterly subscription or a yearly subscription. Of course, with the yearly one usually being cheaper in the long run. So moving on from the SolidWorks Design tiers, we have the SolidWorks xDesign product. Now this is the one with which you'll understand what I meant by the previous tiers being locally installed. Unlike the previous 4 tiers, SolidWorks xDesign is browser-based, meaning that you don't have to do any of the heavy installations in your computer. This can be very useful if your computer doesn't meet the tech requirements to be able to run the regular SolidWorks Design packages. Now, your computer is still going to have some requirements to be able to run the xDesign version, but fortunately these are going to be a lot less stringent because of this version's reliance on the cloud. xDesign is subscription-based, starting at $720 for a quarterly subscription to $2,400 for a yearly one. And because it is a browser-based solution, only user licenses are available for it. In terms of its capabilities, I would describe it as being at around the same level as the SolidWorks Design standard tier, only that it has greater collaboration features due to its online nature. Now notice how I compared xDesign to the SolidWorks Design standard tier, and the reason for this is that because it is browser based, it won't be able to run a lot of the different features that you'd normally see in either professional or premium tiers of SolidWorks Design. And additionally, besides this, because of its online nature, it will require a network connection. Now, in case you are wondering, the files you create using the xDesign version are compatible with the desktop versions. And this also works the other way around. So any files created in either the standard, the professional, the premium, or the ultimate tiers are compatible, meaning you can actually open them in the browser-based xDesign version. So these are the main two types of SolidWorks products you can get. SolidWorks does offer solutions for students, for makers, and for startups. These are in essence one of the previous discussed products, only that they have a couple of tweaks and caveats to them. SolidWorks for Makers is a personal license designed for hobbyists, makers, and DIY product developers. It comes in two distinct versions, one under the name 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers, and the other SolidWorks xDesign for Makers. Now, don't worry about the whole 3D Experience part in the title, don't worry about that. It offers about the same capabilities and features as the Design Standard or xDesign SolidWorks products depending on which one you opt for, but it does have a few limitations that we have to address. Regardless of which maker version you end up going for, you cannot use the software for commercial purposes. In fact, there is a $2,000 per year limit to the amount of revenue you can generate using the maker version of SolidWorks before you are required to upgrade to a commercial license. Now, you could and might get in trouble if you exceed this amount, so just a heads up. Additionally, there is a limitation regarding file compatibility. SolidWorks for Makers can open files from any commercial version as well as the student version, but any file that is made or saved in the Maker version of SolidWorks will have a digital watermark applied to it that will prevent it from opening in both commercial and student versions of the software. Fortunately though, they can still be shared in neutral formats, but that is something we'll cover in another video. The Maker version only offers a user license and comes in the form of a subscription, but it is a lot cheaper than the commercial use options, standing at a $15 monthly subscription or a $48 yearly subscription for either the desktop or browser version. One thing to keep in mind is that you can actually get the Maker's version of SolidWorks for free if you are part of a makerspace. A makerspace is a collaborative, shared workspace where people use tools and technology to create, invent, learn, and share projects. If you're interested, make sure to look up online makerspaces to find out more about them and how you can enroll in one. Next, we have SolidWorks for Students. As the name suggests, SolidWorks also offers a license to students that are currently enrolled in either university, colleges, or high school. It also offers it to full-time faculty at accredited institutions. If your school is a part of the SolidWorks education program, they have the ability to grant their students and faculty a user license of either the SolidWorks Design Premium or xDesign package free of cost. Of course, depending on which one they actually have. To find out if your school offers this, you will most likely have to inquire about SolidWorks for Student licenses with the engineering department at your school if it has one. Do keep in mind though that there is a chance these licenses will only be reserved for engineering students. But don't worry, because if they are indeed reserved to only engineering students, or if your school isn't actually a part of the SolidWorks education program, you can still buy a subscription to either of these two student versions at a price of $60 a year, as long as you are either a current student or a full-time faculty member. While the student edition of SolidWorks comes with the full capabilities of either the SolidWorks Design Premium or xDesign package, depending on which one you get, it also has some important limitations just as the Maker version. You cannot use the student version for commercial purposes. In fact, I do have to specify that it seems that the student version is a lot stricter with this regard, meaning that you could potentially get in trouble for making as low as $1 or maybe even a cent. Similarly, the student edition also has some file compatibility limitations. Files created or saved in this edition will also be digitally watermarked. However, unlike files made in the Maker version, student files can be opened in both commercial versions and the Maker version of SolidWorks, but they may not be used for commercial purposes. You can also open commercial files with the student edition, but they will be digitally watermarked for educational use if saved. And as mentioned earlier, you cannot open Maker files with the student version. Lastly, we have SolidWorks for startups. SolidWorks has a program in which they offer applicable startups the SolidWorks program at variable discounted rates for a 3-year period. The first year you get SolidWorks for free, the second you get it at a 70% discount, and on the third year you get it at half price. Now I did mention that you have to be a qualifying startup, meaning that just because you have a startup doesn't automatically mean it can actually have access to SolidWorks for startups. In fact, you have to go through a application process. The SolidWorks for Startups program is for early to mid-stage hardware startups. In order to qualify for it, your company must be designing and building a physical product with an aim to sell it in the market. Your company must also have less than $1 million in revenue and must be no more than 5 years old. Not only this, but there's a couple of restrictions to the program as well, and the application reviewers reserve the right to change the discount you get depending on your company's revenue. Now, from my research, it seems that the SolidWorks package offered to qualifying startups is comparable to the Design Ultimate package in terms of capability, as you get access to the full suite of SolidWorks tools. Now, before moving on to my personal recommendation, I want to let you know that I have included links to each of the different packages and versions discussed in this video down in the description. I wanted to include them to make it easy for you to access the different pages in which you can purchase these packages, because sometimes it can be a little confusing to navigate the SolidWorks website. Now, I won't be getting any affiliate commissions from these links, but I thought it'd be a good idea to include them for your convenience. Maybe one day I can get commissions from them. SolidWorks team, you can partner up, you can get those commissions. So knowing all of this, which version do I recommend? Well, if you're someone with SolidWorks experience that already has a finished product that is ready or almost ready for production and sale, then you'll definitely want one of the commercial packages depending on your need, such as if you need file management or simulation tools. Now, when it comes to the desktop or browser-based version, I definitely recommend the desktop version. I mean, sure, your computer will need better specs to run it, but you will have more tools at your disposal if you end up going for a higher version than the standard tier. And additionally, you won't have to be connected to the internet the whole time. I would only prompt you to use the xDesign version if your computer isn't very good. But then again, if you have the money to buy any of the commercial licenses, then you definitely have enough money to get yourself a decent enough computer to be able to run the desktop versions. Now, if you don't have a product yet, but do have a company or are a part of a company that qualifies for the startup program, and you are confident that you can capitalize on the 3 years in which you get the software at discounted prices in order to meet your revenue expectations, then I'd say you can apply for the startup program. Now, because I made this video with beginners as the main focus, here is my recommendation if you are planning to learn how to use the SolidWorks program with us here in the Inventor Within channel. So the first thing I would ask you is, are you either a current student or full-time faculty member at a school such as a university, a college, or a high school? Because if so, then you definitely want to check with your school to see if they actually can offer you a free license of SolidWorks. If you can, then out of the two options, you definitely want to go for the SolidWorks Design Premium tier. And I would recommend that you stay away from the SolidWorks xDesign for Students version, unless your computer won't be able to handle the premium desktop version. Now, you might be asking yourself, what should I do if my school only has the xDesign for Students version for free? Well, here's my next piece of advice. If it turns out your school doesn't have the ability to grant you a SolidWorks license, or if it only offers the xDesign for Students license, I suggest you purchase the Student Premium license yourself. Again, prioritizing the Design Premium version over the xDesign, except for computer spec limitations. Sure, you might be paying $60 a year for the premium version for students, whereas you could have gotten the xDesign for Students version for free from your school. But trust me, the difference in capabilities is definitely worth it. Now, if you are not either a currently enrolled student or full-time faculty member, then I suggest you go with the 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers. It should have about the same capabilities as the SolidWorks Design standard tier, which is more than enough to get us started learning 3D design. I encourage staying away from the SolidWorks xDesign for Makers unless your computer isn't very good. Now, if you're not sure if your computer will be able to handle the 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers version, one thing you can do is you can try out 1 month for $15 of the 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers. And in the event that you realize your computer is struggling to handle the program, you can make sure to switch on over to the xDesign version for Makers on the following month. Ultimately though, if you are confident that your computer can handle the desktop version of SolidWorks for Makers, then I would suggest you pay the full $48 as opposed to a $15 per month subscription. Sure, it might be more expensive initially, but if you actually do end up sticking with the program for the entire year, it will end up saving you $132. Only buy it month per month if you don't plan on sticking with the software for more than 3 months. But hey, I know you're here to make a change. You're here to learn how to create that product idea you've always wanted to make. And I know you've got it in you to succeed. So have faith in yourself, have some faith in me, and we'll get you there. We're gonna make this happen. Now, I know we covered a lot of information, so here are a couple of comparison tables that you can use to assess the differences between the different packages. It's time for this video's question of the day. Let me know down in the comment section below what version of SolidWorks you're getting for yourself in 2026. Also, let me know if you have any unanswered questions and I might be able to help you out. I hope. If you found this video helpful, make sure to smash that like button. Also subscribe and enable notifications so that you don't miss future videos just like this one. Now you know which SolidWorks package to get, but do you know if your computer will actually be able to run it? Stay tuned for the next video.